Hello, everybody. Now, I know this might be weird because you saw this video of me like 5 months ago where I said farewell to YouTube. Well, I didn't quite have the foresight to really anticipate what would happen. We would have all these fucking lockdowns. I probably shouldn't swear. To really anticipate what would happen. Whoa, don't want that echo. How many people we got in here? We got a few. There's some pretty interesting stuff going on in Magic the Gathering. Got some pretty cool news. But obviously, staying out of it for 5 months with the lockdowns, we got all this other stuff going on. It's not really easy for people to play Magic anymore. I'll wait for some people to jump in here. But yeah, I've been playing Magic. I've been playing Commander with my friends. Who we got here? Raphael, stuff happens. Happy to have more content from you. Yeah, definitely. What? Mr. Void is back in town. You got it. Best channel, miss your content. Thank you so much, Peter. Brandon, hey there. Rosavig, hello. Guess I'll just wait for some people to jump in here. What brought you back? I'm so happy you are back, though. Circumstances, really. I just got bored. We've been locked down forever. I live in a state where, we're really playing it safe. I missed you guys too. Thank you, Thomas. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Believe it or not, this is the first time I'm ever doing a live stream with this channel. And the previous 3 years, I didn't really do anything live stream related. Brandon, we're going to be talking about some commander rules, the new commander rules. Your content has been missing. A lot to discuss since you left. Good to have you back. Thank you, Charles. Yeah, we're just going to be talking about the new commander rules. To be honest, a lot of you guys are going to have to fill me in, especially the new commander options and all that stuff. But yeah, there's the new announcement for June 7th that I want to talk about, because a lot of different commanders now you're able to play with. And it was always kind of a thing that came up whenever you played Commander, because it's a specific ruling where instead of dying, it just goes to the command zone. So altering the game in such a significant way, I was always for that. Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things where with Magic the Gathering, especially Commander, you have so many people now going out to these events. I mean, before the lockdowns, obviously, but a lot of these businesses have been hurt. Great to see your channel revived. It's crazy how much of your vids I've been watching when looking for interesting cards. Yeah, that's the funny thing. I looked at my analytics, and every single day since I stopped back in January, I'm still getting like 1,500 views a day, which is ridiculous. That's ridiculously good. And I got like, what, almost 20 people in here? Let me check the YouTube. Yeah, 17. That's not bad for my first live stream. It's hard for people to really, I guess the videos when you talk about specific things like Commander deck techs and, actual topics, live streams don't really get that many people hooked. But it's a great way. It's always been a great way for YouTube channels to engage with their fans. My friends have been itching for some Commander games. My LGS is open and people are supposed to still wear masks. But when I checked in, nobody there had any on out of the like 12 people there. Yeah, that's the thing. My local comic book store, which is, where we play our games, we can go there now, but there's a 10-person limit in the store. so it's pretty ridiculous. I would just wait till everything dies out. It's honestly one of those situations where I personally play it safe. Like everywhere I went, I wore gloves, I wore a face mask. This was before they started making that mandatory. We got here. Hey, can you make a revisited deck tech of Vela the Nightclad? I mean, it's possible, but the likeliness of me going back and revising deck techs, it's a lot of work. I'm not gonna cry about it. I know people don't really feel sorry for YouTubers and the work that goes into editing, but it does take a long time to go through and edit these videos. In addition to other work I have to do. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities, but it's just not super likely, and I don't want to make people feel like I'm going to do something by request. Got some more people here. Yeah, just trying to see what kind of attention I get here with this live stream, and then I'll keep doing them. That's the thing too, is that the editing for the videos that I used to do, it's a pain in the ass, to be honest. It would take at least 4 or 5 hours just to edit a decent video. And by decent, I mean at least 10 minutes. That's the thing about YouTube, is that you have to reach certain thresholds. You have to keep doing that just to keep getting the revenue that you're looking for. And I never wanted to treat this like a, full-time job. Yeah, exactly. Just make whatever you want. You have an interesting viewpoint. One of the top 5 Commander channels, in my opinion. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I used to watch other channels too. Remember, I don't know if other people remember Roxa Boxin. That guy was one of my favorite YouTubers for Commander, and I started watching his stuff back in like 2013, 2014. And I kind of modeled my channel after that a little bit, but I made content more consistently. Like, he stopped making content a long time ago. But I always liked the top 10, the idea of making top 10s and going through and explaining the value of each card. That was always fun to me. And it was very disappointing when he quit his channel because, I don't know. That's sort of where I got my inspiration from. Yeah, I didn't really play much at the LGS due to it being so far out of the way. Did go for the pre-release and other events. That's what I've been hearing, though. Even though with the lockdowns, people not really taking that risk, the current set was at Ikoria, sold incredibly well compared to other sets. I had my game store email me and say, hey, this outsold Dominaria, which is incredible. I think that's also because of the commander decks and all these extra products, but still, that's a good sign. I mean, people were all gloom and doom, acting like this is going to be the end of the world. All right, so I guess I should just get into the announcement. Let's see if I can share the screen here. I'm using StreamYard, which is a pretty good place to stream with. Let's see if I can do. All right, so here, I don't know if you guys can see this. Yep, you should be able to see that. Let me get the comment out of the way. I appreciate it, though. June 7th, announcement on Dice Triggers. As you may have heard on the Command Fest charity stream, we're changing how commanders go to the command zone, effective with the quarterly commander announcement for Core Set 2021. The short version of it is, if a commander has an ability which triggers on it dying or going to exile, it will trigger before heading into the command zone. So if you're not familiar, this was always something that got in the way, especially if you wanted to make certain commander decks. I'm going to talk about those in a minute. But the cool thing, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool, but if you understand the rulings with commander, you can really use it to your advantage. In a lot of situations, people messed it up all the time, where they confuse the death trigger with the commander going to the command zone. So if you knew what you were talking about, you can really use that to your advantage to people that maybe don't know what their decks are supposed to do. But it was always one of those rulings that I think confused the hell out of people, and I'm glad they finally changed it though, because we had forever. There's just so many good legendary creatures that have amazing death triggers. I would say more than the exile triggers, but there's so many good aristocrat commanders that when they die, they do something cool. I think the dragons from Kamigawa were fantastic. We got a question here. What is your planned vision for your channel going forward? I want to do more of what I'm doing right now. I want to do live streams. I think that's the way to go. Personally, I think it's probably the best way that I can talk to people, engage with people. Ooh, what do we got here? I think we got a super sticker, 2 pounds. I believe that's pounds, right? I'm not an expert on currency. Thank you, Caspar. Yeah, I do have super chats enabled. So if people feel like doing that, they can do that. It's just an extra way to, allow me to do what I'm doing. As an Elenda player, I love this change. I had like 13 cards dedicated just to reanimating Elenda. Well, great minds think alike, buddy, because that was one of the ones I wanted to talk about. So let's see about the article. Sorry about that. The long version, including how we got there and the technical details, is below. First, new rules, specifically a new state-based action. If a commander is in a graveyard or in exile and that card was put into that zone since the last time state-based actions were checked, its owner may put it into the command zone. If a commander would be put into its owner's hand or library from anywhere, its owner may put it into the command zone instead. This replacement effect may apply more than once to the same event. Commander death triggers are a subject that came up over the years but didn't get much traction. Yeah, I remember. It's sort of something I just accepted, didn't really care that much about. The current system worked fine and was elegant. We were happy with it, and obvious possible changes had a lot of downsides. There were people out there who thought it was a good idea and people out there who thought it was a bad idea, and no groundswell for change. You'll find us defending positions we feel strongly are correct, like hybrid mana color identity during deck construction, but we generally didn't engage much on commander death triggers beyond pointing out the rules to make it happen weren't nearly as simple as people thought they were. We just didn't have strong feelings either way. So yeah, I mean, this was always a big deal for me because there were so many cool commander options. And we're going to talk about just a couple of them in a minute. The rulings are kind of a pain in the ass for commander, and that's a lot of, because of the command zone. I remember building so many decks, and I think Elenda was one of the first ones where I built, and I did not know the rule because you just assume, oh, it's going to the command zone after being, board wiped or destroyed, it died. No, not the case. So I think I got fooled into making like an actual deck tech with Elenda that wasn't around reanimating her because I thought that her death trigger happened when she went to the command zone. So, what we got here. This has caused Child of Alara to spike severely already. I'm saying welcome to one of the most annoying 5-color commanders. Yeah, that's another one too. We're talking about board wipe tribal. Hope you guys are looking forward to that. I wonder why the death trigger rules were changed. I'm curious if this was a choice for some new cards that were designed. Probably. I think if I'm correct, Magic the Gathering, their influence in the actual rules committee significantly increased. It used to be just their own autonomous group. Now, I think this was back to Commander 2018, where specific rule changes, bannings and unbannings were happening just to affect the market, and that's something I did have a problem with. But yeah, I guess there's nothing we can really do about that now. So yeah, if they want to stock up on something like Coca shows, good death trigger commander options, I guess they could. But yeah, usually 9 times out of 10, if a rule like this is changed, you can probably assume it's to sell a product or to make money, which is smart. It's not a bad thing at all, but it is kind of transparent. All right, so the tipping point came last October when a CAG member was talking about their Elenda the Dusk Rose deck, and we had to break it to them that it didn't work the way they thought it did. So apparently, yeah, multiple people were thinking of Elenda. Turns out a portion of the CAG didn't understand that commanders dying didn't trigger death triggers and were quite passionate about the subject. That was motivation to see if we could do something with them that wasn't a mess. Now, this is also good because it's a pain in the ass for people that have like death triggers that are not directly involved with their commander, but other opponents and their commanders are dying. So if you're totaling up a death count for all of your opponent's creatures, you would always have to remind them, well, your commander doesn't die if it's going to the command zone. So if you have a blood artist out there, it was such a pain in the ass. I'm glad they changed that. At least just for that reason. We came up with a lot of possibilities, each had various levels of impact on the game. We had a list of a bunch of notable cards so that we could consider the implications of each approach, including Rest in Peace, It That Betrays, Oblivion Ring, Banishing Light, Grave Betrayal, even Skullbriar. If it had a weird interaction with a zone change, we probably talked about it. In the end, we presented 8 options to the CAG for discussion, all of which had different pluses and minuses. Do nothing, redefine the term dies, inherent trigger on the commander, state trigger on a commander in a graveyard, state-based action, which is mandatory, state-based action, which was optional, special action, a really crazy one where the commander made a token copy of itself that went to the graveyard. So this is a lot of stuff that, I mean, again, I haven't played Magic in 5 months. Well, I've played Magic, but I haven't really kept up to date with a lot of the rule changes. I haven't kept up to date with a lot of the actual news. I've been playing with my friends on Zoom, which is a pain in the ass. If you've ever tried to play it mobily, you have to get a laptop. And then I'd use my phone to record my playmat, and I would just talk through the audio on my laptop. Thank you, Steven. Yeah, it's good to be back. Yeah, happy Omnath gets that last trigger. That's one of them, too. A lot of commanders. A lot of good commanders. I think Vela the Nightclad is another one, if I'm not mistaken. But actually, I think that's just if it leaves. Again, I haven't played it. I haven't really kept up to date with a lot of my commander decks, a lot of these commanders. So it's only 5 months, but believe it or not, you'll forget a ton of stuff. So yeah, I think it's cool. We have a couple good commander options, and I want to share some. Let's see. Let's share the screen. Different Chrome tab. And Elenda the Dusk Rose. I really thought this was a cool commander option, even if you had to reanimate her, because there is a lot of combo potential if you're able to keep getting more and more of these vampires. I wouldn't say there's a ton of infinite potential. If there is infinite potential, it's not the easiest to pull off. But EDHREC.com, like, holy crap, this is probably one of my favorite websites for Magic the Gathering, especially Commander. And if you want to build an aristocrat deck, the cool thing about this website is that you have it right here where there's themes. So we can specifically look at the aristocrat decks built around Elenda. So it went down from being almost 400 decks to 135 decks, which isn't that many, but it's enough to where you actually get a good idea. And these are some new cards again. Like I've been out for a while, so Ikoria, I'm not that good at. But we see the usual suspects. We have Teysa Karlov, uh, very good aristocrat commander, very deadly. You're going to want some sack outlets. So we have Viscera Seer, Yeheni. We have other good creatures with death triggers. We have Revulark, Pawn of Ulamog, Cordial Vampire. Really cool one. Not super expensive here. Under $2 for a really freaking sweet vampire. Cathar's Crusade is one of those cards again. It just dominates so many games. Can you imagine? It's like you pop this bubble and you have 20 counters on her. You might as well just win the game because those vampires also have lifelink. So even if you don't win it immediately, you're putting yourself ahead by a mile. It's crazy. So there's a lot of potential here. And yeah, a lot of these decks, a lot of these cards that you're going to see have been from previous decks. A lot of these cards without the actual rule change in consideration. Blade of the Bloodchief, really sexy card with Elenda. Because you're getting multiple death triggers. You're getting the death triggers off of this too. So yeah, you're going to get a whole bunch of vampire tokens. So let me go and change it to another one. Yeah, Mark, glad to be back. Let me go and change it to the other big deal. Child of Alara. This is one of those commanders I think I always wanted to do board wipe tribal. It's annoying as hell, but it's something that you can make a game go on forever just by constantly board wiping. So when it's put into a graveyard from play, destroy all non-land permanents that can't be regenerated, which is hilarious. I know there's things, you could have like an Avacyn and protect all your stuff from destruction, but yeah, the chances of that are pretty low. And this is one of the things, the wording is a bit different. So whenever it says put into a graveyard from play, if it's a creature, that just means dies. I think that happened around Return to Ravnica when they finally changed that. Child of Alara is like a 12-year-old card, guys. Can you believe that? So they decided to change the wording. And, again, if it simplifies it, if it helps everybody to understand, I'm usually okay with a rule change. And that kind of goes for the announcement on the death trigger change as well. It just simplifies the game. All you're really doing is making it easier for someone to play Commander if they've never done it before. Because there's so many new players that I always have to remind them that commanders that go to the command zone, if they're destroyed, they don't die. I always have to do that for Blood Artist triggers. I have to do that for so much shit. And I'm tired of doing it. I know they don't like it either. But it's one of those things, it's like, just change the rule already, and they finally did. So, oh, these are cool. I do know about the triomes. I know about the 3 different land type lands. They do come into play tap, though, which is a good thing, but they're still pretty sweet. They have cycling. Definitely a good idea. So high synergy cards, I'm guessing the whole strategy here was to just make God tribal and just board wipe the hell out of everything else because indestructible gods will still be there. And you could just go for all 5 colors. So you see a bunch of board wipe related stuff. I would imagine once we get into the sorceries, just more gods, more indestructible stuff. Seems to be a pretty big deal. Obviously, if you have access to Cyclonic Rift and Swords to Plowshares, you'll probably do it in a good removal deck. And yeah, Supreme Verdict, amazing board wipe. Wrath of God, Merciless Eviction. I'm surprised I'm not seeing more board wipes, but here's Day of Judgment, Damnation. Yeah, in a 5-color deck, why not play Conflux? Hour of Revelation, Austere Command, Blasphemous Act, very easy to play board wipe. Route for that instant speed. Urza's Ruinous Blast. A lot of good stuff here. Crucible of Worlds, if you want to get some of your lands back, I guess. But yeah, I mean, this is a lot of cool stuff here we can do now. So let me go and close out of that. Talk to the chat a little bit. Oh, hey, you're back. Got around 20 people. Decent crowd. I've never done a live stream before, so I'm surprised I got that many people. Pretty much committed channel seppuku back in January, where I just decided, I'm not going to do anything at all. What I should have done, honestly, was look into live streaming a lot sooner, because it's so easy to do a live stream, especially with StreamYards. You can just share your tabs and just talk about it. There's no real pressure to be precise or to have the perfect voice or to really talk about, anything specific. You can just do whatever you want. And I might actually invite some friends too, because that's how interesting StreamYards is that you can just share the link with someone. They don't have to have a YouTube channel. They don't have to have a social media even. You just, I guess I could text it to a friend of mine, send them the link, and we can just talk about Magic the Gathering. We can talk about Commander. I don't know what you guys think about that. Gives the Rakdos colors more teeth in Commander. I haven't thought about that. Let me think about it. Tell me what Rakdos Commanders are better, because I forgot. I mean, there's obviously a lot of good graveyard commanders. We have the new chain, or the newer chainer, I should say. It's not technically new; it's from last year, but that's one I'm thinking of. A lot of good death triggers, but not with the commander itself. I don't know. But yeah, I would probably look to invite some people, and maybe get to know some other channels. That's one thing I regretted, is that I didn't really talk to a lot of other YouTube channels. I have almost 20,000 subscribers, and I'm kind of kicking myself about that. So I definitely, at the very least, want to invite people I do know, so that if, we can have a decent conversation, it's a little bit more entertaining. You're not just hearing me. You're not just hearing this, empty space in between my voice, because there's no one else to fill it. But yeah, we got a decent crowd here. Almost at 30 minutes. I think I'll stop at around 30 minutes. But yeah, I mean, things change. And I don't know if I'm going to make a full comeback. I will definitely try to do another live stream like this. And I'm probably going to have to create a social media outside of this. So what we have here. I like the stream idea. It allows us to interact with you directly. And if it's more comfortable for you, I'm on board. Exactly. Thank you, Isaac. It is more comfortable. And again, I'm not going to go all woe is me for having to make 10-minute videos that take me like 4 to 6 hours to edit. I'm not going to, I know people aren't going to feel sorry for me, and I wouldn't want people to. This is mostly just out of boredom. There's not really much to do. I can't really hang out with people in public, at least. I have to do that through Zoom, and that's a pain in the ass. Maybe they will eventually figure out how to make Tetsamok work well in the command zone, but that seems like a bridge too far. Tetsamok. Ooh, we got a super chat here. Will Tactics. $2. Do more live streams. You got it, buddy. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do more live streams. It's something I always regretted doing. Again, I should really and let me know if there's any people that want to, and I'll try to create a social media. Twitter is probably the best way to get in touch with people, through DMs. You can easily share the links to these live streams so they can just pop in here and talk. Definitely want to do that more. Definitely. And like I said before, my friends, it's so easy with StreamYards. Even though you may or may not be fully come back, we are glad to know you are doing well. Thank you so much, Lucario. I appreciate that. Opinion on new secret layers? I have no opinion. I don't even know what that is. I know you might hate me for not knowing, but I don't know. I really don't. I have to look all this up, and I think as I continue talking about Commander, my knowledge of it will come back, and yeah, I'll be able to form an opinion. Yeah, I think I might just end it here. Thank you guys for showing up. Decent crowd for my first time live streaming. I might try to do this at least once a day, or even maybe later today if I feel bored. But yeah, it's definitely something I plan on doing more of. I don't know if I'm gonna go back to the days where I do like ooh, who we got here? Yes, the return of Void. Definitely. Yep. Alrighty, see you guys. I'm gonna head on out here. You all have a wonderful day. Void here signing off.